Good evening. Next time, also the board meeting for Monday, April 15th, 2024 to order. Please join me in the silent prayer and meditation. All right, thank you. Please join in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Mayor Gaffino.
Here.
Trustee Christensen.
Here.
Trustee Curtis. Trustee Gately.
Here.
Trustee Lowry.
Here.
Trustee Nedved.
Here.
Trustee Salazar. Here.
All right, thank you. I have a couple of proclamations to read. The first one is Arbor Day. Whereas in 1872, Sterling Morton proposed the Nebraska Board of Agriculture that the special day be set aside for planting of trees. Whereas this holiday called Arbor Day was first observed with the planting of more than a million trees in Nebraska, Arbor Day is now observed throughout the nation and the whole world. And whereas trees reduce erosion of our precious topsoil by wind and water, cut heating and cooling costs, moderate the temperature, clean the air, produce oxygen, and provide habitat for wildlife. Whereas trees are a renewable source giving us paper, wood for our homes, fuel for our fires, and countless other wood products. And whereas trees in our city increase property values, enhance the economic vitality of business areas, and beautify our community. And now, therefore, be proclaimed by Mark Gaffino, Village President of the Village of North Aurora, to proclaim April 26, 2024 as Arbor Day. In the meeting in the Village of North Aurora, and urge all citizens to celebrate Arbor Day, support efforts to protect our trees and woodlands, and further, I urge all citizens to plant trees to gladden the hearts and promote the well-being of this and future generations. On the 26th of April, dated this 15th day of April, 2024. Okay, I have another one. April is Volunteer Appreciation Month. Whereas the Village of North Aurora has benefited from the services of numerous outstanding volunteers during the year. They're in the crowd here. Whereas an underpinning of a decent and just society is a willingness of the people to work together for the common good. And whereas a positive energy of selfless individuals mobilized in service can stem the tide of social affliction, enrich our recreational and cultural lives, safeguard our personal safety, and contribute to the efficiency and positive effect of government services. Whereas volunteering creates an opportunity to better yourself, and whereas it is incumbent upon all the citizens to salute our dedicated volunteers and celebrate the volunteer program, which contributes to life in the village. Now, therefore, be proclaimed that I, Mark Gaffino, on this 15th day of April, 2024, that April be recognized as Volunteer Appreciation Month in the Village of North Aurora. This is our EMA group. Would you like to stand? Thank you. You guys are a great asset to our community, you know, over and over and over again. I mean, it's really grown too. I was on one of the first, I think the first training former Deputy Chief Wozecki did, and it's really more professional now than it was then, and it's really great. So I really appreciate your efforts. And Chief, would you like to say anything, or Deputy Chief?
Absolutely. Yeah. I don't know what we would do without them. They help us with traffic control, weather events, community events. They open up patrol to go back to doing their duties while they take over like the traffic control when the streets close down. They're selfless. Call them at all hours of the night, and multiple people will respond. I just hope we can do more for them and get them more equipment and get them training like they've been doing. I mean, they're amazing.
Yep, and you do it for no pay. So I mean, it's really a selfless thing. So appreciate that very much.
I mean, we do give them sandwiches once.
Well, thank you again. Open up the public hearing for year 2024 and 2025 draft budget. Anybody here to speak on behalf of that? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing and we'll move on to audience comments. Seeing on that, we'll move to consent agenda.
Motion to approve.
Any discussion? Roll, please.
Trustee Salazar,
Yes.
trustee Christensen,
Yes.
trustee Curtis, trustee Gately,
Yes.
trustee Lowry,
Yes.
trustee Nedved.
Yes.
All right, thank you. Under new business, item 1, Steve.
Thank you, Mayor. Item number 1 under new business today is the strategic plan. If the board remembers, at the last meeting, we went over it at our COW meeting, and there were no specific changes to what was presented at that time. However, it was brought up at the end of the meeting that there was talk about whether we should add something for the Veterans Memorial. So as you see in your packet, the attached strategic plan, there is an actual new objective added for the Veterans Memorial, and it's guided basically to do a few things, some projects. So like specifically we have in there, the objective that we added was explore opportunities to enhance the Veterans Memorial and increase its awareness. It's kind of two-pronged. We want people to not only know it's there, because some people might not realize it's on Willoway, but we want people to see the enhancements once they're there. The action plan, one of the things we talked about doing was hiring a company to design a concept plan to add some features to it. Continue to host our Veterans Day Memorial every year at the actual site. Install wayfinding signs. That's something Brian and his team is looking into to try to get people off of Oak Street specifically to go down Willoway. And then create more awareness through the village's website. When we announce Veterans Day and things like that now, but we can easily post things throughout the year, here and there about veterans and whatnot to try to remind people, by the way, go to the Veterans Memorial and take a look at it. So that's something we added. And with that, the other thing I will tell you is Natalie in our office did a really nice job. What we wanted to do this year was, instead of just taking text, when people see text, it kind of puts you to sleep. It's just bullet point, bullet point, bullet point. So Natalie actually designed it to be kind of like a magazine, where if you look at it in your packet, you have a cover page, an overview, there's a table of contents, and the goals are broken down by section. So that's there for approval tonight by resolution.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Discussion? Please.
Trustee Nedved,
Yes.
trustee Salazar,
Yes.
trustee Christensen,
Yes.
trustee Curtis, trustee Gately,
Yes.
trustee Lowry.
Yes.
All right, thank you. Item 2, Jason.
Thank you, Mayor. This item is an ordinance that increases the village's non-home rule sales tax from 0.5% to 1%. This is related to the referendum that was from last month. This is the final step for the village to increase that tax. From here, this ordinance, along with the certified election results, gets sent to the Department of Revenue by May 1st, and then the tax goes into effect July 1st.
Motion to approve.
Discussion? Roll, please.
Trustee Lowry,
Yes.
trustee Nedved,
Yes.
trustee Salazar,
Yes.
trustee Christensen,
Yes.
trustee Curtis, trustee Gately.
Yes.
All right, thank you. Item 3, Jason.
Thank you. So this item is an ordinance that increases the village's water fees effective June 1st. If you remember from last January of 2023, staff presented a presentation that kind of showed the health of the water fund and the upcoming capital projects. From there, we laid out a 5-year or 50% increase that was phased over those 5 years. So this would be year 2 of that, where rates go up 12.5%. So the per 1,000 rate goes from $4.26 to $4.79, or 53-cent increase. There's no changes to the first 3,000, the minimum $16 fee. So this just is the rates for everything over the 3,000 on a bi-monthly.
Motion to approve.
Second. Discussion? Roll, please.
Trustee Gately,
Yes.
trustee Lowry,
Yes.
trustee Nedved,
Yes.
trustee Salazar,
Yes.
trustee Christensen,
Yes.
trustee Curtis.
All right, thank you. Item 4, Kevin.
Before we move on, since I'm a resident in the Oak Hill subdivision, I'd like to recuse myself from any vote or discussion.
All right, thank you.
So everyone should recall that the Oak Hill subdivision has kind of struggled to maintain their homeowners association. They've had difficulty finding people willing to step up and be on the board. Some number of years ago, in discussion with them, the village triggered the special service area tax and has been taking care of the pond ever since that time. And at this point, it's a small subdivision, and they continue to have difficulty with people being able to step up and be committed to the HOA. So this is one of the older subdivisions, one of the older, newer subdivisions. It's over 20 years old, which means that the annexation agreement that we had in place that required the HOA to manage the stormwater control facilities that we have in place has expired. So they were able to kind of get the band back together to approve transfer of the lot 93 and 94, which are basically the two stormwater control lots in that subdivision, and approve a deed to the village. The village doesn't have to take the property. Nobody can force property on the village, but we had talked about this in a committee of the whole, I think, a number of months ago. And I think everyone agreed at that time that it probably made sense for the village to step up. We're already managing the stormwater control facilities, the pond. It would also include the creek that runs through the subdivision. This does drain in a region beyond the subdivision, which is why it's kind of a critical drainage area that runs through this particular subdivision and drains out into the wetlands that are in North Aurora Town Center. So, because of the regional significance of that drainage, it makes sense for the village to step up, take control over the property, and the village would have control rather than simply managing the stormwater control facilities. The village would actually control the property. It would be public property. So what's before us tonight is simply the deed that the HOA approved for transferring title to the village. We do need a vote of 3/4 of the village board to accept the deed, which now I'm getting confused.
That's right, accept the deed.
Yeah, accept the deed. Okay. So so that means the mayor gets to vote on this one. He doesn't often get to vote, but he gets to vote on this one. And unless there's any further discussion, that's basically what's before us tonight.
Motion to accept the deed.
Second.
Discussion? Roll, please.
Trustee Gately,
Yes.
trustee Lowry,
Yes.
trustee Salazar,
yes,
Mayor Garfino,
Yes.
trustee Christensen,
Yes.
trustee Curtis.
All right, thank you. Move on to item 5. Brian?
Thank you, Mayor. This is for the approval to award the 2024 road program. On April 9th, 2024, 3 sealed bids were received for the 2024 road program. Builders Paving LLC was low bidder in the amount of $2,086,000. The summary of the bids is included for you guys to review. The project includes paving replacement of 21 streets for a total of 3.25 miles. The low bid came below the engineer's estimate, so that's a good thing. Builders Paving has successfully completed road programs for us in the past, with the last time being in 2018. Village staff is recommending the award of approval for Builders Paving in the amount of $2,086,000.
motion to approve,
Second.
Discussion? Roll, please.
Trustee Salazar,
yes,
trustee Christensen,
Yes.
trustee Curtis, trustee Gately,
Yes.
trustee Lowry,
Yes.
trustee Nedved.
Yes.
All right, thank you. That concludes our new business. Village President report. I have none. Trustee comment? Administrative report?
Just a couple things. So the board approved the deed from Oak Hills subdivision. I just wanted to give you an update on, and aside from the common areas, one of the things that was brought up was the pond, and we just wanted to let you know that our staff, our village engineer specifically, has been working with a company to do a preliminary overview, basically a scope of what needs to be done with their pond. So we actually are moving forward hopefully being able to get proposals from companies by the summertime to see what kind of dollar amount we're actually talking about for the future pond improvements. As a reminder, we were taking money out in an SSA already for the pond over the last few years. Plus now we've added to that SSA to do the common areas. So all the money and funding is in place for annual maintenance, and the pond we anticipate will be a substantial expense. So right now we're just trying to get a scope to see what projects these companies would recommend to stabilize their shoreline and then appropriately save for those projects as needed. The second thing is the beautification committee meets every 3 months. They met before tonight's meeting. I just thought the board might want to know some updates. The welcome signs that we've had budgeted for decorations. With the help, it was their suggestion to go to the Northward Garden Club to get some feedback. So Brian and his team put together some welcome signs that had plantings that are salt tolerant, drought tolerant, and sent them over to the Garden Club, got some feedback, brought it back to the beautification committee. So we now know 9 out of the 10 signs will be designed similarly in one fashion with some nice colorful flowers and greenery. The one on Pine Creek and Butterfield is it'll just be rock. That's only because that's a floodway, so it's hard to put plantings in there because it washes away during heavy rainstorms. And then as far as the community sign, that was a thought that they brought up. It's in the budget for approval this upcoming June 1st at Oak and Randall. So that was the signboard, just like the one we have at 56 and 31. And why that's interesting is we had a conversation about adding banners through different parts of the community. And tonight they looked at some banner designs to pick some for rotation throughout the year. And I think the big intersection, there was multiple intersections mentioned, and we will be trying to do multiple places. But the big thing was that Randall and Oak being in the middle of the town and where the community sign is going to go, that intersection has 8 poles that we own that we can actually put banners on right there at that intersection to kind of build a west side presence, since we have all the signs and the banners down here by the river, and bring some out that way, and then add some banners throughout the community as we go. That's it. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Department report.
Thank you, Mayor.
Yeah.
You might see more trucks getting pulled over within the village limits. We have 2 officers who are lateral transfers. They're well versed in truck enforcement. They identified that the negative impact on our roadways. You see Route 31 is a lot of potholes, and also the truck safety. They did a detail with Aurora on Friday. Over 20 citations were written and $6,000 in fines were taken in. So we'll be doing more of those campaigns.
All right. Thank you.
That one for you,
Motion to
Mayor.
adjourn.
Oh, so moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 All right. Pose the same. All right. We're going to meet shortly for a committee of the whole.